Welcome back to Kasie, D.C. We continue our series tonight on women running for higher office. Tonight, we are looking at the hotly contested race in Florida's 27th congressional district. Longtime Republican Congresswoman Ileana Ros-Lehtinen is retiring, and right now there are at least 7 Democrats, including 2 women, who plan to run for the seat. One of them is Miami Beach City Commissioner Kristen Rosen Gonzalez, and she joins me live now from Miami. Thank you so much for being with us, Commissioner. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me on the show and highlighting women. That's really important.
Thanks very much. I want to start with, I know that you live close to, of course, this tragic incident that we have been covering all week in Broward County, and you are trying to bring to the table some ideas on how to prevent the next tragedy. What do you think is the best way to fix this? Would you support an assault weapons ban? Do you have other ideas?
I think we need to do all of it. Our campaign has tried to be really creative in finding ways to work around this love of the Second Amendment. And we propose an excise tax on bullets. If we sell 12 billion bullets a year and we tax it at $2, we could raise $24 billion and use that money to shore up and secure our schools. This is really scary. We were in a commission meeting the other day. How many more notifications are we going to get that say mass shooting in them? How much more blood needs to be spilled? It's really awful. And you know, the next morning I woke up and I thought, wow, you know, not only are my children feeling unsafe, I'm feeling unsafe for the first time sending my kids to school. This one just hit so close to home. And you know, it's just that these weapons are readily available, and you know what? Most of these shooters are men, and they get this spike in testosterone, some emotional reaction. They cannot have availability, not to guns, not to these bullets. We have to make it harder.
Speaking of gender, you have been in the news a little bit because Politico quoted you as having said that you were Harvey Weinsteined yourself, and this was apparently a recent incident. Can you explain what happened and why did you decide to come forward with this, and were you reluctant?
Yeah, I had an incident, and then I remember posting, me too. I really relate to this movement. And at the time, we were having our local commission race here in Miami Beach, and I was supporting a candidate who, you know, exposed himself to me in the car. And I wasn't going to say anything about it, and I was continuing to support him because I didn't know what to do, and I had helped him, and I was embarrassed about it. And somebody working on my campaign said, you have to come forward. And it was one of the most difficult things that I did, because the last thing a politician, it's so hard being a politician as a woman, the last thing you want to do is come forward and talk about somebody's genitals. It was very uncomfortable, and I got attacked because of it. A lot of people accused me. But I was so happy that I did do it, because women started coming forward immediately. Within 1 hour of the news article being published, I was getting text messages from women and emails from women who had also been harassed. So I almost helped elect a person who was going to abuse his power, probably. So we have to be brave and come forward.
I have to ask you, while you're here, if you are elected, will you support Nancy Pelosi as the Democratic leader in the House?
Nancy Pelosi and I have very different ways of looking at politics. You know, there's this large political industrial machine in Washington, and our campaign here is very local. We're hiring local people. I don't want to spend all day in a call box raising money for the DCCC. So while I do think that Nancy Pelosi has done some very brave acts, and I think she's a great representative for the Democratic Party, I think it's time that we move forward and start electing people who are working right now and have energy and, you know, and approach politics with more rational, compassionate, empathetic politics. So I wouldn't say that I'm not going to support her, but a lot of the stuff that I do necessarily is contrary to what the DCCC is doing.
So no yes or no answer?
I want to win my election.
It sounds like you can't say yes.
It's very difficult to come out and speak out against Nancy Pelosi. You know, I would have to see who else is running, but I try to stay open-minded about these things. But I will tell you that I went up to meet with her and several of the other leaders in Washington, D.C., and there were a bunch of eager candidates. And I just don't ascribe to the fact that politics is only about money, raising money from special interests. That's why we're having the problem with the NRA. So I don't ascribe to those type of politics. So, you know, we have very different philosophies on how campaigns should be run.
Kristen, Rosen, Gonzalez, thank you very much for being with us tonight. I really appreciate it.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.